Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Lesson Non-Classics. This is episode number 1961 and Doubleshot number 1855. This one I do have the first trade of a very brief ongoing series from DC. The other is Major Secret Wars. Alright, first up it is Constantine the Hellblazer, Volume 1, Going Down. This collects the first 6 issues of this very brief ongoing series. How brief was, you might ask? 13 issues. Yep, it got canceled and replaced with The Hellblazer, which I have reviewed, and I have also reviewed the book that came before this one, simply titled Constantine. You might be asking, have I ever reviewed anything from the original Hellblazer series, the one that lasted 300 issues? I think I reviewed one trade for that one, but that's simply it. Now, some of this one, they say it's a reintroduction to the character. It's almost like basically you read this book, and it's kind of like basically taking the Hellblazer series, the original one that publishing for the 80s, where they take that and basically sort of reintroduce it because there's no mention of any superheroes, no mention of Justice League Dark in here. I did hear, now this book was actually released originally back in 2015, believe it or not. Yes. Now, I was looking to get the second trade. I actually have it with me. I have it right here next my next stack. Probably next time I'll probably review it. But the thing is, okay, so originally the writers of this book, they were also slated to write Dark Universe, which you're thinking, Dark Universe, wasn't that supposed to be the shared universe of monster movies? Yes. Dark Universe was also going to be the name of the film for Justice League Dark. That, from what I've heard, was going to be directed by Guillermo del Toro, and nothing. They announced it. They did pretty much nothing with it. They just announced it as a director, no cast. It was implied that John Constantine might be back for, but that's it. Now, this book, in a way, now, the Dark Universe book was canceled. It was actually the only book they actually officially canceled. There was actually another book they did kind of cancel, but they basically published it as a split book, as a different book. That was Katana. The Curse, I think it was like the Code of Cobra, I believe it was. This one, from what I've read, and James did confirm with this, that originally some of the ideas of this book were actually ideas that actually sweet in the Dark Universe book. They basically just merged in this book here. Yes. Now, aside from the fact you have John Constantine here, you also have his old friend Gary, who got killed off in the first issue of the original Hellblazer book. He is here as a ghost, and of course John Constantine at one point. Now, the way this book kind of reads, it's similar to the start of the John Constantine TV show, which I love the TV show, and then NBC axed the series after only, like, one season. And there was a joke by Matt Ryan where he asked for a peacock feather, which, of course, NBC's symbol is peacock. And what is the peacock feather? Scratch his back as basically defiance for daring to cancel his series. Then the character later popped up on the series Legend Tomorrow, which is now off the air, by the way. Yep. Now, the case of this book. Most of them ghost hunting here. We also get a chance to meet a character who is sort of a recurring character, only in this book only, because this character never appears after this one. Georgia Snow, who is an old acquaintance of John Constantine. And when I remember reading this, when she was introduced, the book got a little better because it was okay when the book started. It was back in 2015. Now, the artwork is done by Riley Ruspo, but here's the thing. Mike Doyle. Now, those of you who saw the recent book, Tim Drake Robin, this is the same artist. Now, look how he draws this black guy here. That's clearly a guy. And yet you read the Tim Drake Robin book, and he draws Tim Drake and Bernard as women. Do not know why. By the way, Mike Doyle's also co-artist for this book too, with Vanessa Del Rey, Chris Visions, and Scott Kalusk. The cover art is also by Ruspo too. And this book is set in New York City. Yep, New York City. So, does some investigating, usual stuff. Now, there's at one point he loses his clothes, goes to a tailor, and using a credit card. Yeah, and of course he hypnotizes her. I think he's paying with a credit card, even though he really isn't. So he gets new clothes, and he gets the signature attire. Yep. Not much difference from when he previously appeared in this. The only difference is the coat he's wearing is a regular suit coat compared to what he normally wears, which is basically a trench coat. Do not know why Riley Roos decided to do that for, where he changed this look. Now, he also introduces to John Oliver, a guy who John Constantine dates in the series. Now, in case you're curious, though, was this series that one that outed him as bisexual? No, this was not the book did that. Nope, it was the original series did that. I don't know which writer who did it, but it's not something in the last 7 years. It's not a new thing with John Constantine, the fact he's bisexual. Unlike what they did with Stupidity with Tim Drake and Iceman, this was done years before those two characters that they were thought of doing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so John Constantine likes men and women because that's his style. And I think it's been implied in the TV show they actually keep that aspect about the character where he's bi. Which I do appreciate the fact they kept that aspect in. And there was so much potential for that TV show. Like, there was so many plot threads the first episode set up, and we didn't explore the plot threads. Like, the series set up cliffhanger, and we never got a chance to finish the series. Now, I know there was a movie that kind of continued the series a bit, but that's it. Nothing live action. I mean, this series practically had the first live experience of Jim Corrigan, the Spectre, who later popped up on Arrow, played by a different actor, for no apparent reason. Yeah, in case you're curious, though, what does Georgia Snow herself look like? Oh, this shop here. Yeah. Now, I'm sure that the writer, I'm sure James Tim must take some small bit of inspiration from the Constantine show, which I think came out a year prior to this, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, I think it was like 2014, I think it was when the series was launched. Now, this character here, now that's Georgia Snow right here, this giant woman here. That's Georgia Snow, no, she's not a giant, that's just basically the artistic cover for that one. But yeah, she's basically still works for the British government, and she gives with John Constantine to deal with some supernatural stuff in the UK. And apparently, he also is revealed he's had trouble getting into the UK due to supernatural reasons, not due to legal reasons, surprisingly. Now, here's the thing: John Constantine is basically he is a citizen of the United Kingdom. He's one of those very rare characters who actually is like that. As a matter of fact, his creator is also British as well. Alan Moore. Yes, Alan Moore created this guy. I do not know how Alan Moore feels about the adaptation of the character. There's been two. There's been Keanu Reeves. I haven't actually seen that version. And the one by Matt Ryan. This book in particular, for the start of the series, I'm going to give it roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up it is Secret Wars, War Zones, Future Imperfect, which collects the 5-issue miniseries Future Imperfect and a story from Battleworld. Oh, Secret Wars Battleworld. This is written by Peter David. Yeah, Peter David book. Makes sense that he would do this because he's the one who created Mesmero. So, of course, he wrote miniseries. As a matter of fact, he's still writing the character after all this time. I think he's like practically like, as of currently, as far as I can tell, I think he's like one of like 2 or 3 writers who ever wrote this character. I think the other one being Ed Brunson, who wrote it in the pages of Old Man Logan, where a version died. Now, this one is exclusively for Secret Wars. He's a hero of his own domain, and also he once posed as Odin. Now, his particular reality does have a version of Fantastic Four, kind of mostly, where it's Glenn Talbot and Ross. They go to space, and Ross becomes the Thing, not Ben Grimm. General Ross. Glenn Talbot kind of becomes the Invisible Man and dies. Yeah, it's not exactly clear what happened to him. So apparently Mesmero's plan is this: take down Doctor Doom, which I think he does. He even gets his hands in the destroyer armor. Yep. Now I do appreciate what Peter David did with this book. It's like this. Now the one thing I should obviously point out though is the art by Greg Land. Also in the Secret Wars Battle War one shot, issue that's just him versus the Silver Surfer. It's not bad artwork compared to his other one. It's like, apparently, I think that, by the way, I give this book I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I think that, and this, I have basically pointed this out that when I talked about the Symbiotic Spider-Man miniseries, the first two, it would seem that when it comes to Greg Land, I'm sure Perry Day probably knew about his reputation ahead of time, so he probably told him to tone it back from his usual stuff. And this is very toned down from his usual stick he normally does, where he copies page, like sometimes he copies the same page 5-6 times in one issue. Same poses for characters, or he just changed basically a character's appearances to fit for a character. Also, he has a thing for characters smiling while they're fighting. This book, not really. The only character who smiles when he fights is Mesmer, but that is normal for him to do. Now the other characters smile, not that I can think of, no. And it's basically a distraction when you see characters do that. But not much I'll say these two books. They're both pretty good. In the case of Peter David, there's actually just one more miniseries for him from Secret Wars left to review. And that's Secret Wars 2099. Which that miniseries got followed by the pages of Spider-Man 29 Volume 3, which was really good. Sad the book got canceled 25 issues. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Secret Review. Next up, I'm going to do a couple of manga reviews, and that'll probably be it for that. They'll get on Doctor Who, but that's not going to be the case, okay? Bye.